I'm Superfizz, and I'm really happy to introduce you to the EthStaker community. The EthStaker community is an open group of people who stake on the Ethereum network, or maybe you're not a staker and you're just curious about what we do. We are a welcoming first and knowledgeable second community, and we take that really seriously. What that means is that we want to be welcoming to anyone who wants to participate in our community. And before we hit you over the head with the facts, we're going to make you feel like a part of our community, and then we're going to be gently knowledgeable to help you learn and get up to speed with what we're doing. We think that staking on the Beacon chain is one of the most important things that any Ethereum can do to secure the network. We support solo stakers primarily, but we also provide support to people who stake in any way they can on the Beacon chain. No matter what service you use, no matter what exchange you use, we want to provide support. Now, we might help guide you in what we feel like is the best way for the health of the Beacon chain. As a matter of fact, I call myself the Beacon chain health consultant, but our overarching goal is to support every staker in whatever way they choose to stake. And I think we do a really good job of that. EthStaker provides a lot of initiatives. These are things that we iterate on throughout the year to try and support the community in the best way that we can. Some of our most impressive initiatives right now are Steakhouse. Steakhouse is a team of developers who works to lower the technical bar to staking. It's led by Colfax, and you're going to hear a little more from him later. We also do workshops for staking, for setting up hardware. Those are usually led by Nolan, whether they're in person at one of the events we travel to, or whether they're a YouTube stream. Nolan is our guru for hardware. He's also our deep thinker. And Study Master is a program that we've kind of been working on for a few years, and we think that we're getting closer and closer to making this a really valuable program. EthereumStudyMaster.com, and connect with your Web3 wallet and learn more about how staking on the Beacon chain works, and then take a quiz and earn a POAP for successful completion. So no matter how you approach staking, we want to provide services that make staking more accessible, that help you learn more about staking, and help you to connect and become a better staker. One of the things I'd like to talk about next is our Steakhouse Initiative. Our Steakhouse Initiative is led by Colfax, and he works along with Remy, Roy, and Buddha. Colfax, take it away.
Absolutely. So one thing that we learned as a community is that education can really only get you so far. There's still a reasonably high technical barrier to staking on the Beacon chain. So once we developed all these strong education initiatives and sort of helping people learn some stuff, we wanted to even reach more solo stakers at home by lowering the technical bar to staking, by making some tools. We're doing that in a few different ways. I'll pass it off to Remy to talk about our community calls that we host every month.
Yeah, we had this great community call that we have every month where we try to bring everyone in the domain who's trying to develop those tools that makes it easier for everyone to stake on a Beacon chain and on Ethereum. And when we do those calls, we invite everyone who's willing to come, and we take questions from the public. So if you have any questions you want to ask anyone, make sure to come and we'll be happy to help you there.
If you want to contribute to Steakhouse, you can join our Discord at discord.io/EthStaker, or you can watch the live calls on YouTube, which is also EthStaker as well.
There may or may not be POAPs at these calls, correct?
That's
there
right.
might be some, yeah.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Come for the POAP, stay for the tools.
EthStaker also holds a variety of workshops, whether we're doing it in person or through YouTube. Nolan, you want to tell us a little more about those?
Yeah, so we do workshops. We show how to install nodes, make keys, anything related to staking. We try to show it on screen in real time and help people get through the process as easily and safely as possible.
One of the greatest goals of EthStaker is to provide kind of non-confrontational education. We want people to feel comfortable learning and not feel overwhelmed by what they're doing. One of the tools that Unvetica has developed to reach that goal is EthereumStudyMaster.com. Michael, can you tell us a little about it?
Yeah, thanks, Fez. So Ethereum Study Master, it started on Reddit, rather, by Superfizz, and it's sort of grown and matured through that, and now we have our own endpoint. And it's where anyone and everyone is welcome to authenticate and use to their desires to learn more about Ethereum staking and Ethereum at large. And the idea here is much like Steakhouse, where they're lowering the technical barrier, we're trying to tackle and lower the knowledge barrier so that you have a centralized location and a trusted source in which to learn and level up your Ethereum skills. So that could mean something as simple as learning and creating your very first Ethereum wallet to going from start to finish from a bare bones machine to a functional staking validator to everything in between. So check us out at ethereumstudymaster.com. We also have a dedicated channel on our Discord server as well. And the more you learn, the more courses you complete, you will also be able to show off some shiny POAPs to say that you have in fact not only completed and understand things, but that you've fully comprehended everything and you have the POAP to show for it. So that is Ethereum Study Master.
Along with all of this education, we also have a deep wealth of knowledge for how the beacon chain works and how staking works. One of our greatest sources of information is Thorsten, who you might know as you work down. From my perspective, he knows more about staking than almost anyone else. Take it away, Thorsten.
Hey there. I will, of course, disagree with Superfizz. I know this much about staking, but that appears to be enough. So I came in August 2020, and I didn't do anything before that. You guys have been in there much longer than I have. I'm having a lot of fun with the EthStaker community. I'm constantly running diverse clients and trying and succeeding to break them. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. And since January 2022, I am now full-time employed in a blockchain business. Yay.
Woo.
Hey everyone, I'm Superfizz, and I'm excited to welcome you to the CLR.fund and EthStaker Quadratic Funding Grants Matching Round promoted by the Ethereum Foundation. That was a mouthful. To put that in smaller words, the Ethereum Foundation is helping CLR.fund give away 350,000 DAI to projects that improve staking, and we're using the CLR.fund Quadratic Funding mechanism to do that. You know what I just did? I said I was going to use smaller words, and then it was just as complicated the second time. But that's why we're doing this call. Welcome, everybody. So we're going to spend maybe an hour chatting about what this funds matching round is about, how you can get involved, how you can participate, and really how we can improve the staking ecosystem on Ethereum for everyone. I'm really glad you're here. I think that the video that Michael just played kind of introed everyone here, but I want to let you know there are three major players in this grants opportunity. The first major player is the EF, who is providing that 350,000 DAI grant match. And the second player is CLR.fund, who develops a quadratic matching engine to receive donations and quadratically match those with the grant. And the third is the EthStaker community. We're here to sort of promote and organize this to try and onboard the right groups and make all of this happen. So that's really exciting. Today, we're just going to go from the beginning through the end to talk about the whole program, let you know how you can be involved either as a potential grant recipient or as a person who maybe gives some DAI on the Arbitrum network to vote or signal for these projects that should receive funding. So to hop into this, we're joined by Danny Ryan, who, if you don't know Danny, he is one of my heroes. He is, and he's not going to like that. He's going to say, "Don't say that, Fizz." He's the driving force or behind the Beacon Chain implementation teams. He organizes what you know as Lighthouse, Nimbus, Teku, Lodestar, and Prism to kind of get those clients up and running and support the Beacon Chain. So Danny, if you want to take the stage for a while and tell us how the EF is involved with this.
First of all, I'm one of many people that helped drive that thing. But thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is something that's been a long time coming. The EF put on the Staking Community Grants Round over a year ago now, after the Beacon Chain launch, to help kind of support the nascent and kind of growing ecosystem around staking, to try to make tooling better, make there be better information, better guides, better coordination and communication, education, all sorts of stuff. And by and large, that was a very successful round. We had tons of, we had some existing projects and people come out of the woodwork to kind of bolster up their projects and continue forward. We had a lot of new and interesting stuff that came out of that round. And overall, very much a success. But after that, we were interested in kind of spinning, the EF really got to put a lot of signal out there. They got to say, what are we interested in? Which projects do we get to select and help in the ecosystem? But we also want to help support the community signal that type of information outward, because we're a limited set of people with a limited view on reality, and the ecosystem has a lot of really good information out there. So we, in collaboration with CLR.fund, in collaboration with some of the great people working on some privacy technology called Semaphore, and through releasing this on Arbitrum, we kind of tried to help put the pieces of the tech together so that instead of doing another staking community grants round where we make all the decisions, we get to allow the community to kind of step up and signal and essentially be able to allocate the EF's funds rather than the EF allocating it directly. It's a long time coming. This brought together some really interesting technology with Semaphore on privacy preserving and kind of anti-vote buying, which I think is very important for this type of technology. Additionally, it was very, very important to the EF for this to be on a layer 2, such that more people could access it. More people, it's very painful to make a $1 vote or allocation, one DAI, and spend massive amounts on fees in layer 1. So it was very important for us to be able to showcase this in layer 2. So the combination of bringing together some really interesting and advanced tech, in addition to putting on a layer 2, took some time, but here we are, and the round is live, and that we're kind of trying to get people onboarded, projects and stuff onboarded, and soon enough, the allocation and the fund will begin.
Thanks so much, Danny. It's really great to see the EF kind of pushing it in a direction that, for lack of a better words, that I just think is the right direction. With such a big organization, it's hard sometimes to be aware of where the community is going, and so it's really neat for the EF to make this push and say, hey, if you're at the forefront of the community, if you're at the ground level doing this, what are the things that we can support? And so I'm really happy to see that here.
And this is one of hopefully many. Hopefully we can do another one for the staking community some down the line. But also, this is a testing ground to learn and iterate and be able to allocate more of the EF's resources with the guidance of the community in various domains coming from moving beyond here.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. And so it's funny, we do have some guests here today. Some projects have paid close attention to the postings, and they've already signed up and they've already onboarded. And so I'm looking forward to hearing their encouragement a little later in the call of what they're doing and why this is important to them. And so let's start with looking through the agenda. I don't know how great this order is. I was sort of thinking about some of the projects that I would like to see, but maybe we should start with the logistics of the round, how it's going to work. And so if anyone wants to kind of give a hand with introducing those, Colfax, I would love your help if you want to step up. Do you know the logistics of this very well?
I haven't had a chance to play around with it too much, but
okay.
I understand that there is it The link for donating, I believe, is it CLR.fund.EthStaker.cc?
It's actually QF.
QF.
Yeah, qf.ethstaker.cc. And so essentially you can head there and find all of the basics. The round begins today. And so from May 6th until May 24th, if you are a member of the community and you would like to signal your interest in any of these projects, you go to qf.ethstaker.cc. And so you're going to need a couple things in order to make this work. You're going to need some DAI on Arbitrum. Does anybody want to chat about what DAI on Arbitrum means? Nixorikish, I think you're pretty good at this stuff. Do you want to give us a heads up? She's like, what? No.
What DAI on what a stablecoin on an L2 means?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. And so this is a foreign concept to some people. Maybe people are familiar with Ethereum on mainnet or ETH on mainnet, but they're not familiar with a stablecoin on L2. Can you give us an overview what that means?
Sure. So a stablecoin gives you better keeps you pegged to the dollar. You don't have to be subject to the wild swings of crypto, and on an L2 you also don't have to be subject to the wild gas fees that are on an L1, but with inheriting all the security of Ethereum L1.
Awesome. And so so what you'll need to do if you have Ether on mainnet, you will go to a bridge, and you will bridge over Ether to mainnet, or I'm sorry, Ether to Arbitrum, and then you can use a swap to swap that Ether for DAI, or you can actually literally just bridge DAI to Arbitrum, and then you'll go to qf.ethstaker.cc. You'll also need one more piece of the puzzle. You'll need to be Bright ID verified, and so Bright ID is a system of essentially showing your face, demonstrating that you're a real person, and connecting with other real people and building up this web of trust that says, yes, you're a real person. And so with those pieces in place, with with DAI tokens on Arbitrum and with Bright ID validation, you can then make a donation to some of these products. And the benefit here is your donation is not really the thing we're looking for. Does someone want to tell me why those donations are considered signals and not the actual donation?
So I think this mechanism is pretty cool. Do you want to kick it off, Danny? So the concept of a donation in this context is less so about the amount of money you donate, but really about your donation as a signal of support for a project. So based on my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way that this round is working, as we talked a little bit about earlier, is we have a big pool of like matching funds that the EF has provided. And we want to figure out the best projects that are most valuable to the community to give those funds to. And the way that we're going to determine that is by the number of donations that each of these projects get. And that donation basically is like a vote of confidence in the project. And then based on the amount of donations that they get, that determines how much matching funds they get. So like, for example, if a project gets one donation of $100, then the project might not get a huge match donation because that's only one donor. But if that project gets 100 donations of $1, then that's a much stronger signal of community support. So they get much more of the matching funds at the end of the round. Does that make any sense? Am I right?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
So, but it is a function of both personhood and economic willingness to donate to them. But the economic, the amount, the impact that your additional dollar has degrades. So like adding a couple more dollars might help out, but adding $1,000 like might only add $20 in terms of matching. This is a function kind of dependent on the amount of money that's donated, depending on the amount of people that show up. But it tries to find like some sort of balance between one vote, $1, and people's like really willingness to throw economic weight behind a project as well.
So
makes sense.
one thing that people may not think about, you might be thinking, well, it's going to cost me to bridge to Arbitrum, and I'm only going to give $5, so it doesn't matter. That's not the kind of thinking that's behind this. You might only give $1. What you're giving is a signal. You're saying these projects are valuable to me, and I want the EF to support these as well. And so that reaches down to the base layers of the community and gives everyone a voice to say, this is what I think is worth supporting. And I sort of thought about, what are the things that I feel like are most important? And what I want to do are throw out some ideas of what I think are valuable projects. And then we're going to spend some time sort of going over some of the projects that have joined, because what we want to do is paint a picture of the types of participants that we're looking for. It is important that we get a good participant set, because that's the thing that's going to move this project forward. And so sort of Fizz's wish list are things like staking guides. I would love to see PPA installers for the client implementations. I would love to see Docker installers, like that new nice node. I would love to see something like that for the Beacon chain. Easier client switching. I would love to see GUIs tacked onto the client implementations. I would love to see staking token baskets developed that kind of take the existing liquidity tokens and sort of jumble them up in new and interesting ways. I would love to see someone take the Rocket Pool installer and make it work for solo stakers. I would love to see staking on ARM devices like cell phones and Raspberry Pis become even easier than it is. And I love dashboards, things like data dashboards, Grafana dashboards, Dune dashboards. Those things are all so valuable. And so I'm being asked to define PPA, and so that is a personal package archive. It's so essentially right now when you install a client implementation, let's say I want to install Lighthouse, I have to download Lighthouse from their GitHub repository, and I have to sort of install dependencies, and I have to create a system service, and I have to make it run. With PPA, you really just copy a one-liner that says add this PPA, and then you apt install Lighthouse, and it's running as a service in the background, doing all of the magic. Really, before I turn this over to someone else, what I would love to see come out of this is just like removing one click from a user. Like, let's take away one click every 6 months and make it just a little bit easier to get into staking. That's what I see as the big picture. And so, let's see. With that, I think it's a good time to sort of turn it over to Nixorikish and Mr. Mojo. They're going to talk about some of the people some of the teams who have already signed up for this grants fund matching, to kind of give an idea of maybe you're thinking, I want to do this, but I don't know if I'm really up to snuff for it. And so let's chat with some of these people now and get it started.
Hi everybody, I'm Nixorikish. Mr. Mojo and I are going to introduce some of these projects that are in this round, just to highlight the kinds of projects that have been improved in KYC'd. So the first one we're going to go with is Rotkey, Lift Terrace from Rotkey. It's a portfolio tracker, which I incidentally love and use, so I'm really glad that they're participating in this project.
Hey, hello. So yeah, I guess everybody has the same problem when they are staking. It's like, what am I doing, and do I get any profit? Do I lose stuff? Do I owe any taxes, etc.? So this is the problem that Rotkey is trying to solve. We already have support for F2 staking actually since the beginning, since Genesis. I'm also staking. I have a home staking here with 32 ETH. We're using the Beacon Chain API for now, but what we would like to achieve through this round is to allow us to connect with the user's node, so that we can get data from the node itself. Because right now, even if I have my home staker here, I cannot read the history, and I completely depend on Beacon Chain's API. So we would like to work on integration with a user's F2 node as a kind of an optional integration, and generally make it easier for users to realize how they are doing, how their staking is doing, and if they are having profit, how much, and depending on where they are, how many taxes they owe. In short, this is what we want to do for staking for the Beacon chain and Rodkey. We also want to support other staking stuff for ETH, but it's more like to help people that do Kraken, Binance, etc. This is not related to this round. Okay, that's us.
All right, great. Thank you so much for explaining your project. But Stefan from Stearium is here, and Stearium, they are an easy to use tool for setting up, configuring, and maintaining an Ethereum node for all kinds of use cases. So Stefan, would you please like to talk more about that and why you've joined the round?
Hey, thank you very much for having me. Well, you said it already, Stearium node setup is an easy way to run an Ethereum node. And you simply download an application on your desktop, you run it and point it to any VPS, dedicated server or bare metal. The only condition is that it runs Ubuntu and it guides you through the process with a nice UI to set up and choose the consensus client and the, if you want to, the execution client. With Stearium 1, we already introduced all 4 of the consensus clients are stakeable. You can stake with them. It also installs some monitoring stuff, and we also have a mobile app, so you can actually receive Grafana alerts on your mobile phone without checking it proactively. It also got a security audit last year, but let's talk a little bit more about version 2, what we are building now. We showed version 2 already to some people that visited our booth at the Dev Connect in Amsterdam, and we got some amazing feedback from them. So we're pretty sure we're right on track with the user experience on that one. It will support way more use cases. So with Stearium 1, we basically focus on solo staking and data analytics stuff. With Stearium 2, we focus on way more, like more use cases, like installing also SSV operators, or maybe even installing a Rocket Pool smart node, or as I said, data analytics stuff, like you connect to your beacon node and your execution client and get some data out like Rodkey does it. It's also possible to customize your node completely yourself. So you can run, for example, 3 Prism beacon clients, one for testnet, one for mainnet, one for another testnet, for example. And we are also aiming to make dApps run on it. But a really amazing part of this is that we already showed on the booth, at Dev Connect, is that we can set up a fully functional Ethereum node in under 3 minutes. And this is something completely new. So what we also want to do is reach more people. Only around 20% of the world population speak proper English to understand an installer with English, with the English language. We want to do this, get a more target audience by introducing internationalization, and we will have something about 9 different languages supported when we release it out of beta. We also look into running it on Windows and macOS, not the installer. The installer runs already on any desktop, so Linux, macOS, or Windows, but also running the actual node on Windows and macOS. Because right now we only support 2 operating systems, that's Ubuntu and CentOS, which are both Linux-based. We also will have a security audit like for version 1 with version 2. And I'm curious how the tutorials will turn out, which are already start to get written. And everything you donate to us and everything we receive in this round will, of course, go into developing and maintaining this project. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stefan. So next we have Xin Yu from Open Source Data Analytics of Ethereum Staking Pools.
Hello, very glad you have the chance to speak here. So we are Chain Info. We are teamed up in 2019, and we are at first focusing the data analyze on Bitcoin data, but because of the arrival of the Ethereum merge, we have begun to pay attention to the Ethereum blockchain data, and so we decided to conduct some kind of open source data analytics on Ethereum staking pools. We have found that there are several data analytics on Ethereum staking pools already, but seems those projects are not open source, so we'd like to provide a kind of open source analytics to help improve the I guess I can remember the word. Improve the safety of the network. I guess. So we are trying to at the current stage we are trying to find out the ownership of each validator addresses by analyzing the transaction history to show the market share of the map of the market share of the Ethereum staking, but we also planning to do more kinds of data analytics from different kind of perspective, like the node I see, like the node IP, like the location and some other kind of things. That was maybe in the later roadmap, and we want to hear more kind of feedbacks from you, so we can decide what we can trying to do, what you want to see. So we can trying to digging out more kind of useful data and provide more helpful data services, and maybe we can create a kind of very good data visualized data dashboard. So now we have launched a website that is ethsta.com, and you can see some kind of demo and chats on that. You can see the the results we have now, and you can follow the GitHub repository we publish on our on the website, and you can help us improve our data services. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. So we do have one more project that we want to spotlight, I believe, or two more. So I'm going to be talking to Ladislaus about Minimalist Docker Guide, which is a guide to setting up an Ethereum node with Ubuntu and Docker, taking client diversity into consideration. So tell us more.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. So yeah, I wrote a guide, a very minor and marginal contribution, but nonetheless, I tried to showcase how to run an Ethereum node in a post-merge world using or utilizing the containerization tool Docker. So my goal was to make it very simplistic and a kind of Sesame Street elementary level, which is why I titled the guide "Every Node Counts," because I wanted to stress the notion that in a post-merge world, you not only have to run one piece of software, but two pieces of software to maintain a complete view over the Ethereum network. So the guide provides you with a very minimalistic set of command line instructions and shows you how to set up a minority consensus layer client, in this case Lighthouse, and a minority execution layer client, which is Bisu, with the help of Docker. It also shows you how to switch clients using Docker, in this case from Lighthouse to Teku. It also gives a brief overview on how to set up a testnet validator. And I want to also point out why it's great to run your own node, even if you're not staking. So yeah, all in all, I hope this guide showcases yet another option, an alternative path, maybe an alternative entry point for interested readers on how to get started to run a node and expand from there.
Thank you, Ladislav. Next, we're moving to Fernando from Ethereum on ARM. And if anybody doesn't know what a Raspberry Pi is, they're awesome. They're like this big. I can show you one. And they're like, you can buy a tiny computer for $10. So I'm going to let Fernando talk now.
Hi, everyone. I can show you another one here. This is a small, very small Raspberry Pi I have here. I want to talk to you about our project. We are working in provide a plug-and-play Ubuntu server and I'm much ready to run an Ethereum node in this small and power-efficient ARM devices. A Raspberry Pi, Android one also. This kind of image does the work for you. After banging it to a small SD card, you have a full Ethereum node with all the main clients preconfigured, packaged as systemd services in our own repo, and monitored with Prometheus and Grafana. I want you to provide some background about our company. We've been staking from day zero on our Raspberry Pi, running along both Ethereum 1 and Ethereum 2 clients in the same device, mainly Geth, Lighthouse, and Nimbus. And in the last weeks, this is what we have been into. We released an image for the Kiln testnet to try to improve the merge. We are participating in mainnet shadow forks also. We are trying to continue to test Ethereum 2 and Ethereum 1 clients in the mainnet so we can gather more data, performance, and compatibility with these small power and efficient devices. And we are also trying to obtain new ARM boards such as the very promising Raja Rock 5P. It's a small, maybe a little bigger card with 16 gigs of RAM. We are hope and we have very. I think these small devices could run a full node without problems. And in summary, we're a small team working with the small ARM devices, trying to do useful and fun stuff, and improve and bringing more variety to the net, to another architecture to the net, not only x64 devices. Also, we have to write an easy way to work with ARM devices also. And that's it. Thank you for having me and letting me speak about our project.
Definitely always happy to see you come up here and talk about your project with us. But we do have one more. Last but not least, Hani Abu, he wants to talk about Project Sunshine, which is a dashboard that monitors the health of Ethereum's decentralization. So step right on up. Tell us about your project and why you wanted to join the round.
Sure. Thank you, Mojo. Hello, everyone. So Project Sunshine, as Mojo said, is a dashboard to monitor the health of Ethereum's decentralization. So what that means is we'll be tracking various metrics that are important important metrics, metrics that are important to be decentralized in one place so that you can easily see how the network is doing, as well as show instructions and steps that you can take to help further decentralize and protect against the centralization of the network. Because you can't change what you aren't monitoring, and even if you are monitoring, it really doesn't help if that's not visible. And right now we have information in a lot of different places. So part of this initiative is to bring all that information into one central location to make it easy for people to track and follow and then take steps to improve the situation.
Awesome.
That sums it up for me.
Hey, so thanks so much for sharing those projects. I have to say, like, it's hard for me to remain muted during those when I want to like unmute and be like, yeah, that's my thing. So there are a lot of really exciting projects, and so the thing you have to keep in mind, this is just launching today. We have some people who were early onboarded, but no funds have been accepted yet, and it's really starting now. You have from May 6th until May 24th to make contributions. If you want to sign up, you have until May 16th to sign up, and that gives you 8 days to receive contributions. There's plenty of time to receive, plenty of time to sign up, but you do have to kind of get committed now and get ready to go for it. I think Colfax is planning to share his screen, and we're going to do a quick walkthrough of both sides of this, the donor side and the recipient side. So, Colfax, if you want to fire that up.
Yes, I'm ready to go. Michael, Invetica, can you give me screen sharing privileges? Or whoever the host of the call is?
It's the Slacker. There we go.
Slacker.
Sorry about that.
Classic. There we go. All right. Let me just move this video stuff up here so I can see my own screen. Amazing. So here I am at qf.ethstaker.cc. And this is the main page that we're talking about where all the action's happening. So I'm just going to sort of walk you through a few different things here and sort of show you how you can participate both as a donor as well as a project owner, project submitter. So there's a lot of good information here on the landing page, pretty much a review of a lot of the things we've already been talking about, but some information on how it works. It'll shoot you down here to explain a few different things. If you click here to how the round works, it'll dive into some more details around the CLR walkthrough, quadratic funding, like Danny and I talked about, and sort of the different phases of how this exact funding round is going to work.
I did notice the maximum contribution is 10,000 DAI. So please, if you're going to donate, please try to keep it below 10,000 DAI. Let's go for 9,000. That's okay.
Yeah. Yep, 9,000, 9,900, just about right. So as you scroll down, you see there's a bunch more information here. So the two things we talked about earlier are Arbitrum, DAI on Arbitrum, as well as setting up Bright ID. So here are some links to doing both of those. And just some generally more information about the round. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to click here, get started. And then I'll probably come back here to add a project too a little bit later, but I'm just going to dive right in.
That's the best way to do it sometimes. Dive on in.
Exactly. So this is an awesome, so here are a bunch of the projects that we've been talking about actually. So it looks like this is actually the project view. So you could take a look at what projects are eligible for donations. And cool, I did pay my taxes this year, but I'm going to need to pay them again next year. So I'm going to take a look at Rotkey. So it looks like there's a lot of information here about the project. You can check out their GitHub repo, Twitter, their website. This is really amazing to see like some detailed information about the project. You can kind of learn more about what they're doing, the value that they're adding. And so if I wanted to donate here, so first I'm actually going to go up here and connect my wallet. So like many other Web3 apps, you can go up here and click connect. I'm going to use MetaMask. And so the very first time I ran this, I actually had not configured my MetaMask for the Arbitrum network. And as we talked about earlier, Arbitrum is an L2. So it's a network that's on top of Ethereum. And so you're going to have to add a network. So it actually prompts you to add the network. So it's a totally normal thing to do. I've already done it now. And so the next step for me is to sign a message saying that this is my wallet and they basically want you to just attest that you're in control of this wallet. This is not sending a transaction or anything. You're not sending any money to anybody. This is just you basically saying, hey, I'm Colfax and I'm going to donate some stuff to CLR. So I'll go ahead and sign. You can see here now I'm connected. And unfortunately, I don't have any DAI on Arbitrum yet. I'm going to have to go back to that link on the main page and bridge some, but at least I can go through most of the steps with you guys here. So this looks awesome. I'm going to go on down here, and it looks like the recipient address is down here.
You know, I want to, while he's scrolling through this, I want to bring up the value of kind of going through these steps of getting verified on Bright ID, of bridging over to Arbitrum, of getting DAI and donating. We know through a lot of experience, and anybody who's been in this space a couple years knows that rewards are not always direct and obvious. And maybe I want to say, I don't even want you to do this for a reward for yourself, but playing with different products, getting into something, trying something new is a way to learn more about the space and contribute to the space. So if you're looking at it and you're like, I'm not Bright ID verified, I don't want to do that. Or if you're saying, I don't have any DAI on Arbitrum, I really encourage you to kind of get over those hurdles and go ahead and play with it. It really does benefit you, your understanding, and it really will benefit our ecosystem as we support these projects.
Yeah, definitely. One of our our like side goal here, the EF supporting this round on Arbitrum, is to expose more people, have more people take that hurdle to go from having experimented with their mainnet to experimented in one of these more scalable zones of an L2, because once you jump in there, you're going to find out there's more and more, especially over the next year or two, increasingly like things to do in this like much lower fee zone. So it's a good way to kind of get your feet wet.
I couldn't second that more. And the way that I've really learned most everything that I know about crypto and just like this is just taking this wandering path of like, all right, this is something I want to do. And now I need to learn these 5 things in order to do it. And that's how I learned about Bright ID. That's how I learned about L2s. That's how I learned about so many different things. And so I definitely encourage you guys to try and just jump in there. And there's a lot of good information available. So here on Rocky, if I wanted to donate, it looks like actually the round is not yet active, but I think it's going to be opening up very soon. But I imagine when it opens up, there will be a button right here where you can actually go ahead and donate to the round. Donate to this project in the round. And so since that's not quite ready yet, what I'll actually do is I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to click on another project. I really like Ethereum. It's an awesome project around making staking easier for folks. And I've chatted a lot with those folks. So here's another project, again, similar information, a lot of links here so you can learn about their projects. The other thing I love about this round is not only are we supporting projects that are working on amazing initiatives related to staking, but also we're bringing a lot of these projects to the forefront. And I've learned already just on this call about a few new projects that I hadn't seen before. So I'm really excited about that. So here I'm going to actually quickly demo now how to add a project. So say if I had a project I was working on that fit this general criteria for the round, I'm going to go ahead and click add a project. And it looks like here's some general information. You'll need a small security deposit, which isn't too bad. It'll take about 15 minutes. The round criteria is here. So it needs to be related to Ethereum staking, free and open source, and a few other things. And I'm just going to go ahead here and click add a project. And so it looks like you need to fill out project name, tagline, description, a few other pieces of information. And then there's a number of other things that you'll fill out, which will actually end up filling out your project page. So I won't go through all the steps now, but that's how you can go ahead and add a project. And it also is linked on the very main page here if you want to add a project there. So was there anything else that anybody thinks I should demo on this? Or I think this is a pretty good overview of the general features.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I'm really happy. I love the way that CLR.fund, they pushed us to integrate this directly with EthStaker, with the branding and the domain, and I think that's really cool. I heard from Oren a little while ago that some of the contracts have not yet deployed to mainnet. I'm sorry, to Arbitrum. So this will go live today. It just hasn't quite triggered yet, so we're maybe a few minutes early. But thanks a lot, Colfax, for demoing that.
No problem.
And so, as I talk about these things, I want you to participate in our ecosystem, in our community. To be honest, I want you to do it because you love Ethereum. And if you don't, that's cool. I know some people need external incentives, and that's fine because you're probably going to get a POAP if you do this. I can't tell you that, but it's a thing. But what's more valuable is if you want to sign up as a participant and accept donations through the CLR funds matching round, we are kind of teaming up with GitPoApp. And GitPoApp is led by Colfax Selby. Colfax, can you tell us? Yeah, I know he's just the guy who was just talking. Everybody's like, "Who's Colfax?" Sorry. If you can tell us first what GitPoApp is, and second how you plan to incentivize people who are signing up for this matching round.
Yes, so I'm excited about this integration as well. GitPoApp is a project that integrates POAP minting into GitHub. For those not familiar, I'm sure many are familiar with POAP. For those not familiar, POAP is a protocol that mints NFTs. And the NFTs, it's not just like the art and the ownership that matter, but how you came about getting it. And the ownership over a POAP represents an action that you've taken or like an event that you've attended or something. And so there might be a POAP on this call for attending the call. I don't know. But what we're doing with GitPoApp is we're integrating POAP minting into GitHub and allowing you to mint POAPs based on contributions that happen to your projects. And so on the surface level, it's a fun thing to do. And it's a proper way to offer recognition to contributors to your projects. But if you go like one level deeper, what we're actually doing is we are allowing people to create an on-chain record of the projects that they contributed to. And you can sort of build this kind of like digital verified resume. And we also are allowed, like sort of bringing this record of contribution on chain, which then allows you to do a lot of other things. So like when we talk about funding rounds like CLR, and like what we're doing with this quadratic funding, like we could do a funding round totally on chain if the record of who's contributing to which projects is already on chain. And there's other things we can do around like coordination tooling, and we can have sort of like POAP gated access control. You can see here, this is Superfizz's Git POAP profile. And so there's a lot of fun things we can do. And POAPs also can incentivize people to contribute. So just like sometimes people are incentivized to join a call to get the POAP, POAPs can actually serve as a way for you to incentivize people to contribute to your project. So I'm very excited to announce that we are going to be integrating GitPoApp into all the projects that are going to be a part of the CLR round. And we have a team of designers that are doing a lot of that can do the designs for you, and they're very talented. So really excited about that. And yeah, I'm glad to support all these projects and sort of see how using POAPs will incentivize more contributions and allow you to do more things in the future.
Thanks so much. I'm wildly excited about the GitPoAPs that I've collected. And a feature about GitPoApp that may not be obvious to everyone is you get to, when you set up your GitPoApp profile, you get to choose your featured POAPs. And so with that, I get to, out of all my POAPs, I get to choose the ones that are most valuable to me that I can share. And of course, my GitPoAPs are among the most valuable. So
fun little tidbit there. Superfizz was actually the inspiration for that feature on the profile page.
Because I was like, wouldn't shut up about it for like 5 years. Do it.
We did it to get you to shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do everything for. And so I want to do a big overview and then zoom into where we are, because we're about to put the POAP man on stage. Well, actually, the POAP man is generally Patricio, but Michael is going to talk about deploying a POAP for this call. But I want to zoom out and say we got together today to talk about funding public goods with the support of the EF, about your opportunities to signal the projects that are most valuable to you, and then for those projects to get funding. And even more so, if you're somebody who wants to get involved in building, you don't have to be a developer. You can create tutorials. You can create video content. You can bring staking closer to normal people. And so I'm really glad everybody came out today. And with that, I'm going to switch over to Michael, who as Unvetica, to give you how many. Raise your hand if you actually just came for the POAP today. Yeah. Okay. Talk to us, Michael.
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Let's get everyone their POAPs. Let's try something new here. And see if this works. There we go. All right. So if we scan the QR code here, this should be visible both on the live stream and for the Zoom call. You should get yourself a fancy little POAP that proves that you were witness to the official EthStaker CLR.fund Quadratic Funding round launch call. So I'll leave this up for a minute and then hand it back over to Fizz here.
Oh, I love how there's no one to host the call right now because, pardon me, sir, I'm busy claiming my dark red. I can't do dark red. So this is being distributed. Shoot, I really have to pay attention, don't I? So we're about to wrap up the call. I need this POAP. Like, hey, I won.
My POAP claim said that I wasn't a real person, so I have to try again.
Mine did too.
Mine says that
I
I
won.
won. So,
Does that mean I lose?
This distribution technique, it's the magic QR dispenser. It's a neat way to distribute POAPs for anybody who's interested. One of the minor issues with it is it is kind of throttled, and that's to prevent one person from claiming 80,000 POAPs in 7 seconds, because that has probably happened in the past. It's not a joke. There is a bit of a hurdle, but to be honest with you, I got mine, so everything is fine. Like,
I want to jump in and make just one quick clarifying comment about Git POAP. So for Git POAP, what we're doing is we award POAPs to software contributors to projects. So we're not actually giving out POAPs for donors to this round, but for all the projects that are integrated with this round, we're going to integrate Git POAP into their projects so that anybody who has contributed in the past or contributes in the future will get a POAP awarded to them based on their software contribution. And eventually we want to do other contributions, probably like other different types of contributions into projects, maybe even supporting something like this this quadratic funding round. But I want to just clarify that the POAPs through Git POAP will be for people who contribute software to these projects.
And I know Project Sunshine, that led by Hani Abu, it is one of the things that I begged for, and Hani and his team set up. They're using Git POAP right now, and so I look forward to the other projects taking advantage of Colfax's offer to sign up with Git POAP. Now, Colfax said that that you're sorry, Hani, I believe you're real. Colfax said that you won't get a Git POAP for participating in this round, but knowing the history of these projects, I feel like it's likely, I'm not guaranteeing this, we haven't done it, I feel like it's likely that we will be issuing a POAP for anybody who donates during this round. Again, that's not a guarantee, but I feel like the odds are in our favor.
You're further incentivizing somebody to figure out how to Sybil attack it. Which is
it's complicated.
I mean, we gotta play whack.
I'm acknowledging reality. Wait, do you want me to encourage Sybils? I'm confused
now.
No,
you did by offering a POAP.
But yeah. Well, I actually.
It's already encouraged. If you can break, you can increase if you can break the Sybil resistance, you can increase your donation, your matching amount here. So it's like, it's okay if somebody breaks it because we're trying to make Sybil, better.
Well, and we're supposed to find all the weaknesses early on.
Can I tell you one of the interesting things? And this is a legitimate conversation. I believe in many cases POAP makes you more of who you are, and so I do believe there are people who are on the verge, but they're like, I really don't want to bridge to Arbitrum. But the motivation of a POAP could be the thing that says, you know what, I'm going to do it. I love this project. I'm going to support it. Along with those people are people who will abuse the system, and it is our responsibility to identify those people. But I know I say our responsibility, it's not something I'm actively involved with, so good luck. So, Michael, what's the status of our QR dispenser? Are we set to go on that? Do we need to do anything else?
Nope, all set.
Okay. I'd like to thank everyone so much for coming out today. Does anyone have any closing comments? Any final thoughts?
Don't wait. Bridge now.
Yeah, that's actually really important. Don't put this off. Don't wait. So I imagine you're not hearing this May 6th. Maybe you're watching us live, but a lot of people will catch up with this in a few days, and you're going back to do some research to find out if it's worth it. I really encourage you to hop on now. Let's make this a success. Let's make CLR.fund a success. Let's make staking a success. We as the community have the power in our hands to make things better for everyone. Thanks everyone for coming out, and looking forward to the next May 24th. What is that? It's 18 days of Quadratic Funding. So best wishes, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Everyone.
Bye bye.